right, sit down, grab your popcorn, and maybe a helmet, because Huntsville just got hit with an emotional earthquake that's shaking the entire reality TV universe. You thought the drama between Melody, Shari, and LaTisha Scott was over? Think again. Melody just dropped what fans are calling the most savage truth bomb in OWN network history. And let's just say, LaTisha might want to log off the internet for a while. For years, we've watched these two women go from business besties to frenemies to full-on emotional assassins. But what if I told you the real story was darker, deeper, and way messier than the cameras ever showed? What if this feud wasn't just about husbands, side chicks, or misunderstood comments, but about betrayal, manipulation, and a secret that could rewrite everything we thought we knew about the Scotts and the Holts? Now, before you roll your eyes and say, "Not another Huntsville meltdown," hear me out. Because this time, it's not a rumor, it's a revelation. Leaked DMs, private recordings, and some suspiciously timed anonymous emails have started circulating. And if what's inside them is true, then Melody's so-called healing era might actually be her revenge era in disguise. Did LaTisha really betray her friend to protect her husband's image? Did Melody quietly plot her public comeback with receipts hidden in her notes app for years? Or are both of them just playing a high-stakes game for clout, sympathy, and views? Stay tuned, because by the end of this video, you'll realize Huntsville isn't just a city anymore. It's a battlefield, so let's rewind everything back to the beginning when Melody, Shari, and LaTisha Scott weren't throwing shade on Instagram, but standing side by side as Huntsville's Golden Girls. All smiles, champagne toasts, and matching ambition. They were the faces of success, the kind of women who made viewers believe that friendship, marriage, and business could actually mix. But what no one saw coming was how fast that fairy tale could turn into a psychological battlefield once fame, betrayal, and ego entered the picture. When Love and Marriage Huntsville first hit TV, Melody and LaTisha were inseparable. They shared their dreams, defended each other against critics, and built their brands like a power duo. Everything looked perfect until cracks began to show. And the first one came when Melody's marriage with Martell Holt started to crumble. Martell's infidelity became national gossip, and while Melody was trying to heal, she also began seeing through the masks of everyone around her. Her heartbreak transformed into something sharper, almost strategic. As if every pain she felt became a lesson in exposing other people's hidden truths. That's when the whispers started. Melody began making subtle comments online about unfaithful husbands and fake marriages. Never naming names, but leaving enough clues for the internet to go wild. Her most infamous post, a simple line that read, "If some phones got unlocked, empires would fall," became a digital grenade that blew up Huntsvilles.com facade. The comment sections lit up. Bloggers started digging, and all fingers pointed toward the Scotts, specifically Marceau. The narrative was irresistible. One woman scorned, another woman silently panicking, and a city watching every move. At first, LaTisha tried to stay above it all. She smiled through interviews, posted family pictures, and defended her husband with that poised confidence viewers admired. But behind the scenes, insiders say she was shaken. The rumors spread faster than she could control them. And every time Melody posted another cryptic quote about truth revealing itself, it felt like another hit. Still, LaTisha stood by her man, claiming loyalty and love while social media dissected every second of her marriage. Meanwhile, Marceau didn't help matters. Instead of defending his wife with strength and clarity, he leaned into humor. When interviewers asked about cheating rumors, he'd smirk and say things like, "Men don't cheat, we just do research." It's trying to sound charming, but coming off as arrogant and dismissive. Those jokes might have made him laugh, but to fans, it looked like guilt wrapped in sarcasm. And to LaTisha, it was humiliation disguised as humor. She wanted her husband to fight for her, to shut down the noise, but instead, he treated it like entertainment. Melody, on the other hand, looked like a woman reborn. She called herself transparent, a truth speaker, someone who refused to stay silent about infidelity and fake loyalty. To her supporters, she was a symbol of female empowerment, the woman who walked away from pain and turned it into profit. But to her critics, she was messy, vindictive, and addicted to attention. They accused her of weaponizing her trauma, using her platform not to heal, but to hurt. Still, the numbers didn't lie. Every time Melody hinted at the Scotts, her views skyrocketed. Every caption, every Instagram live became a clue in a bigger mystery. Was she just being real? Or was she enjoying the chaos she created? No one could tell for sure, and that's exactly what kept people watching as the tension grew. The show's producers did what reality TV does best. They turned the pain into prime time. Every reunion, every episode, every confessional was edited to fuel the feud. Fans picked sides. Team Melody saw her as the truth teller, the one brave enough to call out hypocrisy. Team LaTisha saw her as the loyal wife being unfairly dragged into someone else's misery. But behind all the online wars and gossip blogs, both women were changing. Melody became colder, more calculated, while LaTisha became defensive and weary. Their friendship, once built on ambition and sisterhood, had completely disintegrated into suspicion and resentment. But behind closed doors, LaTisha's patience was wearing thin. The rumors wouldn't stop, her husband wouldn't take them seriously, and Melody wouldn't let the past rest. She was tired of being graceful, tired of holding her tongue, tired of pretending that the whispers didn't hurt. Every blog post, every fan comment, every sly joke chipped away at her peace until even her children started hearing the gossip at school. That's when the cracks in her calm began to show. It wasn't about Melody or Marceau anymore, it was about her family's dignity. And once a mother feels her children are being dragged into adult wars, there's no coming back from that. The moment LaTisha's kids came home asking if their dad was really cheating, something inside her snapped, because that was the line she swore no one would ever cross. She could ignore gossip. She could ignore the bloggers twisting every sentence. But she couldn't ignore the pain in her children's eyes when classmates repeated rumors pulled from comment sections. That was when the silence ended and she decided to speak up, not with PR polish, but with raw emotion. Her voice trembled during that live stream. Her eyes were red. And every word felt like a release she had been holding back for years. She said she was done being quiet while her family was used for clicks and views, and she pointed straight toward Melody without ever saying her name. The internet exploded instantly. Clips spread across every gossip page within hours. Some people cheered her for finally standing her ground. Others called her insecure and accused her of using her kids for sympathy. But the truth was more complicated. Deep down, LaTisha wasn't trying to play victim. She was trying to survive the kind of public humiliation that never ends. Because every time you think it's over, another receipt magically appears. And right on cue, just as her live went viral. A blogger posted what they claimed was leaked footage of Marceau at a hotel lobby with a mystery woman. The clip was grainy, the angle terrible, but that didn't matter. The headline alone was enough to spark chaos. Suddenly, hashtags like #ScottScandal and #HotelGate were trending. Fans were doing frame-by-frame analysis. And people started tagging Melody's name in every post as if she had orchestrated the whole thing. Melody stayed silent at first, which only made things worse because silence in Huntsville means power. Every minute she didn't respond felt like confirmation, and people began calling her the puppet master behind the scenes. Then 3 days later, she broke her silence with a cryptic video on Instagram. A soft piano playing in the background while she said she believed in letting truth expose itself. That was it. No direct accusation, no names, just that phrase and a look that could cut through glass. Within hours, blogs ran headlines saying Melody had confirmed the cheating rumors, and fans flooded LaTisha's page with questions. The show's producers were thrilled because drama means ratings, but the real people inside it were falling apart. Insiders said Melody had recordings of private conversations that could destroy multiple marriages if she ever decided to leak them, while others claimed LaTisha was preparing to sue certain bloggers for defamation. It became less about who was right and more about who could outlast the noise. Everyone in the cast was choosing sides, and even off camera, the tension was toxic. People who once did business together now refused to be seen in the same room. Asterisk. As days turned into weeks, the situation became unbearable. LaTisha reportedly confronted Melody privately, demanding to know if she had anything to do with the leak. That conversation, according to someone close to production, ended in shouting, tears, and threats to quit the show altogether. Producers begged them both to stay because their feud was now the centerpiece of the entire season. Money was on the line, and so was reputation. But the damage was already done. LaTisha stopped attending public events with her husband. Melody stopped following several cast members online. The unity that once defined the Huntsville cast had disintegrated into paranoia. Every glance, every social media post, every vague caption was treated like a coded message. Fans started playing detective, turning the entire franchise into a soap opera of suspicion. And as the tension grew, it wasn't just about Melody versus LaTisha anymore. It became a cultural debate about loyalty, revenge, and what happens when friendship turns into competition under the bright light of fame. By the time the cameras wrapped that season, the two women who once called each other sisters had become reflections of each other's pain. Both trapped in a story too public to escape and too profitable to end. When filming resumed, after that explosive season, the energy in Huntsville felt heavier than ever because what once looked like a reality show had turned into a slow-motion breakdown of real lives. The producers could feel the tension, the cast could sense the division, and the audience could not look away. Melody walked in like a woman who had already made peace with being the villain, or maybe she was the hero, depending on who you asked. She wore calmness like armor, and her confidence was unsettling to everyone who had doubted her. She wasn't shouting, she wasn't defending, she was simply existing as if every rumor and accusation rolled right off her. That quiet confidence was more intimidating than any argument. LaTisha, on the other hand, had lost the effortless grace she was known for. Her smiles looked practiced, her voice carried a sharpness that wasn't there before, and she no longer tried to prove anything to anyone. People close to her said she was exhausted from constantly explaining herself to strangers online who treated her marriage like a spectator sport. Behind the scenes, rumors spread that the network had hired a PR crisis team to calm things down because sponsors were starting to worry about the show's reputation. One insider claimed that Melody had been advised to take a softer tone in public, while LaTisha was encouraged to focus on her business ventures and ignore the drama. But neither woman could fully detach. Every interview turned into an emotional landmine, and every new clip reignited old fires. Then came another twist when a leaked voice recording surfaced online, allegedly capturing two cast members discussing how to keep the feud alive for ratings. No one knew who leaked it, but the timing was suspicious, and both Melody and LaTisha's names were mentioned indirectly. It reignited every conspiracy theory imaginable. Fans began claiming that the whole thing was orchestrated from the start, that their friendship and fallout were all scripted. But those who had seen the real tension knew it wasn't acting. Too much hurt lingered in their eyes for it to be fake. As time passed, the feud began to represent something bigger than the women themselves. It became a symbol of how public perception can shape reality and how fame can blur moral lines. Until no one knows who the real victim is. People who once rooted for both women started picking sides not because of truth, but because of the story they preferred. Melody became the phoenix who rose from betrayal, while LaTisha became the wife fighting to protect her home against an invisible enemy. The sad part was that both roles were written by the audience, not by them. Every time they tried to move on, another wave of commentary pulled them back. Behind the cameras, both women reportedly reached a point of quiet acceptance. They didn't hate each other anymore. They just didn't trust each other either. Their connection had been replaced by an unspoken understanding that neither of them could undo the damage. Fame had given them everything they dreamed of, but taken away the peace they needed to enjoy it. And somewhere in the scandals had slowed down but not disappeared, because in Huntsville, nothing ever truly ends. Every story lingers, waiting to be revived by a new clip or caption. And that's what made this saga tragic. It wasn't about who cheated or who lied anymore. It was about how two women once, united by ambition, had become prisoners of perception. The show would go on because it always does, but the real question was whether either of them could ever find peace in a world that profits from their pain. So after everything we've uncovered tonight, after every rumor, every leaked recording, every fake smile, and every truth that slipped out when the cameras weren't supposed to be rolling, the question isn't who won this feud, it's who survived it. Because what we're seeing isn't just reality TV, it's real emotion turned into entertainment for millions of people who can't stop watching. Melody might have found her voice, and LaTisha might still be holding on to hers, but at what cost? Maybe fame gives you a platform, but it also takes your privacy, your peace, and sometimes even your sense of self. So what do you think? Was Melody justified in speaking her truth? Or did she go too far and expose more than she should have? Or was LaTisha right to protect her family, even if it meant living under constant suspicion? I want to hear what you believe, because this story isn't finished, it's just waiting for the next twist. Drop your thoughts in the comments below, and if you think you've heard everything, think again, because there's always more hiding behind the scenes. Hit that like button, subscribe, and stay tuned, because the truth in Huntsville never sleeps.